Good morning, everyone. And I'm really excited because today is a special day for all of you and for us because it is the anniversary of Joy-Nostalg. And I think the topic that was given to me is really very important because the reason why we celebrate anniversaries is that, first of all, we are grateful to God for all the blessings that He has given Joy-Nostalg, the whole family, the community, and all collaborators. Number two, we also take note of how we have grown as a family, as a community, as a company. And number three, how we have served people. We have been tasked by the Lord to really go out there and meet their needs. So, celebrating anniversaries is extremely important. And regarding the topic that has been given to me, let me now share my screen. And the title of this talk is We Can Only Give What Is Ours. So I hope you can see my screen now and we will start my talk. We can only give what is ours. We cannot pour from an empty cup. And so during this anniversary celebration, we take note of how we have also taken care of ourselves. It is very natural to first look within ourselves regarding how we have developed ourselves not only as individuals but as a family so that we can be strong enough, and not only strong enough so that we can be thriving in order for us to meet our vision mission. And it is also the same with individuals, with each of us. Siyempre, kung tayo ay burnt out, kung tayo ay negative sa ating mga attitudes, sa ating mga emotions, ano yung ibibigay natin, ipapamahagi natin sa ibang tao. And Dr. Susan Bialy Haas, who is a physician who speaks and writes about stress reduction, burnout prevention, mental health, wellness, and resilience, says cultivate the habit of checking how full your cup really is. So it's a day to day experience. That's why when we wake up in the morning, we need to be aware of where we're coming from and also before we sleep at night. You might be surprised by how low your reserves have gotten. For better to realize and remedy this now than later. And she does not only speak from a scientific perspective as a doctor, she is speaking from her own experience. That's why she says, take it from me. So, this also is important even to professionals who may know a lot of things already. And in Mark 12:31, it's actually mentioned to us, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. It does not say you should love your neighbor more than the way you love yourself, or you should love yourself more than the way you love your neighbor. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. So if we think about it, in the scriptures, we have a lot of commonsensical statements and teachings. Do not feel guilty about loving yourself. Sometimes we're so busy taking care of other people that we forget to actually listen to ourselves, to our needs, and what we must do in order for us to continue on the journey to wholeness. And we even feel guilty. Oh, I should not be focusing on myself because there's so many people out there who need me. But what are we going to give to them if we do not have anymore the energy, the enthusiasm, even the wisdom, and the energy to go on, right? So we cannot give what we do not have. That is really something very practical that we often talk about, and I've mentioned in my past sessions. We cannot give what we do not have. To put it positively, we can only share what we ourselves have fully experienced. How can we speak about the love of God to others if we do not embrace it ourselves in our particular context? So, healthy self love is different from self centeredness. Healthy self love is taking care of ourselves in the way God asks us to because we are temples of the Holy Spirit. And we should also, of course, practice self respect and self compassion. This is different from thinking and feeling that the world revolves around myself. and that the story of my life is only about I, me, and myself. Forget about God, forget other people. No, that is self-centeredness, and we do not want that. We want healthy self-love. So my invitation to you today, dear folks, especially because it's a 14th anniversary celebration day. Shall we smile? Yan. Di ba minsan pilit yung pag-smile natin pagising sa umaga, tapos nanginginig-ginig pa yung mga boses natin, yung antok-antok pa, di ba? Parang, working day na naman. So many things to do, right? Can I just go on a vacation, staycation, on a kahit na travel blog na lang ang pinapanood ko or tinitingnan ko, pwede na yon, di ba? But you know what? Smiling has its benefits, even if we don't feel like smiling at the in the beginning of the day, rather. Smiles are fat-free. O, hindi naman nakakataba ang pagngiti, di ba? Sugar-free. Reduces blood pressure. Helps relieve pain and depression. Smiles require no batteries and they're absolutely free of cost. So keep smiling. Cool people, smile, right? Life is not for sleeping for the rest of the day, although sometimes we really need to sleep. Life is for living and breathing and saying God is good all the time. So, what is smiling about? Or said to say to smile, pero how exactly can be inside? So number one, practice self-awareness. Where am I coming from? Do I find joy in what I do? I think the name of the company is very symbolic. It's very important. We are Joy-Nostalg. Are we experiencing Joy-Nostalg in our daily and personal lives? Or are we just fulfilling our obligation? Find joy in what I do. Am I sensitive to particular trigger points? I may not sometimes be conscious that, I'm reacting to this particular situation, to this specific person, and I'm feeling sungit, no? Parang gusto kong magsumpong, gusto kong magsungit, gusto kong magdabog. Ano ngayon? Kung yan ang nararamdaman natin, what are we going to do about it? Am I experiencing any of the following? Let's check our next beginning the day. Pagod ka na, no? May isip mo yung lahat ng gagawin mo. Pagod ka na, ayoko na. Restlessness, di ka pa naman na-vaccinate, pero masakit na yung braso mo, masakit na yung kung ano-anong bahagi ng katawan mo. Impaired concentration, like you're all over the place, you can't focus. Irritability, ayan na yung S na sungit, no? Sungit, nabubulyawan mo na yung mga anak mo, nagagalit ka na sa mga katrabaho mo. Do you have difficulty sleeping? I know during this pandemic, a lot of people have been experiencing insomnia. So this pandemic has really brought with it a lot of anxiety. But you know what, folks? These symptoms I spoke about, they are symptoms of GAD, Generalized Anxiety Disorder. Baka pa minsan hindi na natin napapansin, we are falling into this trap, and it's like an abyss. We feel we are getting out of control, right? We're overwhelmed. So, what shall we do if we are aware now that these things are happening to us? It's important to learn to say no. Learn to set boundaries. You might say, but Miss Ilsa, at work, for example, there are so many things I need to do. How can I say no? I'll get fired, or my boss is going to get angry. I'm going to be labeled as irresponsible. Well, you still have a choice, and you can still talk to the people you're speaking with and say, ma'am, may I suggest? May I recommend this? You can still dialogue with the people you're working with. And you can check if, for example, your goals are realistic. Is there something you must do in order to regain control? Because if you keep going towards a negative direction, a direction in which you will eventually fall into burnout, all the more you will be unproductive. Saying no in order to say yes, what is we need to talk to somebody who could help us get out of our confusion. It is humbly accepting that we have limitations and others need to do their part. We might be doing everything, right? And not learning how to ask for people's help, not learning how to humbly ask for suggestions. We need to remember we are not the Messiah. God is. Sometimes we might be operating from desperation or a messianic complex. Sasarilinin ko na lang ang lahat ng ito kasi ako lang ang makakagawa nito. Right? So we better check that. Are we operating from a perspective of pride or fear or negative emotions? Or are we freely giving because we are passionate about our work, we truly want to serve people, and we love not only ourselves but others? Another S is self care. How do I value myself? So, a reminder, happiness is an inside job. Of course, the company can offer incentives, benefits, and these are blessings, but happiness must first start within ourselves. Am I practicing holistic wellness? So I know this is a challenge for many of us and many companies. Work life balance. Work life balance. Sometimes we work ourselves to death, but sometimes it is already an escape from our pains, our personal issues. So we work and work and work in order for us not to feel the pain that we are going through. Well, we would rather be productive than depressed, right? But there must come a time when we need to face certain emotions and issues in our lives and address them in a more balanced way. Do we do our basic breathing exercises? And we could actually even do this in the perspective and practice of prayer. Breathing, being conscious of our inhaling and exhaling. Okay, being focused on the sacredness of the present moment. Journaling can help in ventilating our emotions. And when we journal, we won't be hurting other people, right? Because the tendency is we could either uh, be conscious of what we are going through and we can write to ourselves, but it would be even more beautiful if we can do journaling in the context of conversing with God. And in the process, we also let Him speak to us as we reflect and write down our emotions and our experiences. So, journaling is highly encouraged, not only for Christians, a lot of people actually practice journaling all over the world, regardless of religion. Are we also focusing on our personal interests? For example, recently I've been into Turkish drama, and my high school barkada, they're saying, "Oh, Ilsa, everybody was into K drama and then you shifted to Chinese drama." Yes, I said, you know what? Chinese drama, kasi mas mahahaba yung mga drama. Ako kasi I really appreciate the story, no? Mass kong graduate eh. So I love how the plot develops. E paminsan experience ko, with all due respect to K-drama fans, no? Ang experience ko yung bumebuelo ka pa lang, na-enjoy mo pa lang yung kwento, tapos na, hello, di ba? Parang wala nang twist. So na-enjoy ko yung C-drama, and then recently I discovered ang ganda pala ng Turkish drama. Ang hilig ko pa naman doon sa mga stories about the sultans and the sultanates, no? And then I started researching about Turkey, Istanbul, Constantinople, etc. So, ang saya, no? Ang saya. I know some of you are BTS fans. Yung barkada ko ng high school, kilala yun ni Sir Jack Nang, yung barkada ko, si Debbie. Nako, she's a fan of BTS. I had to ask her when the BTS meal was introduced. Oh, pumila ka na no, nung first day, no? Kumuha ka na, no? Ah, syempre, hindi ako magpapahuli. Okay. So, personal interests. So many things to do and to discover. Yesterday, as I was going through my work and I had to take a break, you know what I did? I took a virtual walking tour of Italy. O, di ba? So, medyo balabalansin lang tayo. Do stuff that would be fun. Exercise and dance. Alam ko po, ulit-ulit tayong nag-uusap tungkol dito, no? Because a lot of psychologists are saying that physical movement, exercise, dance, these release our happy hormones. And not only that, they are good for us in terms of brain function. Oh, so huwag natin kakalimutan yan, napakahalaga yan. Libre yan, di naman kailangan pumunta sa gym para mag-exercise. Listen to music. Di ba ang ganda kasi nowadays, through the internet, ang daming libreng mapapakinggan na music, all sorts of music. If you haven't ventured into classical music, for example, try it. Or just try to see, type ko ba to o hindi. No? My sister-in-law is a coloratura soprano. Yan. So yung music na naririnig ko sa kanya, kakaiba dun sa mga K-pop, sa mga yung naririnig natin na Broadway, iba naman din yung kanya. Classical music, yung mga ganon. So we can even use helpful phone apps, di ba? Ang daming mga pwedeng gamiting mga phone apps ngayon. Savor your food. Nako, yan ang exciting, yan ang mga thrills natin during this pandemic. Kakain na rin lang tayo, gagastos na rin lang tayo for food. Might as well enjoy it. Let it be a real gastronomical culinary experience. For example, I am so happy whenever I receive the dim sum from Empress Dining Palace. Ang sarap-sarap. Sa totoo lang, pwera bola, ang sarap, no? Ng pagkain from Empress Dining Palace. So savor your food and even experiment. So ako nakakapag-experiment ako these days. May nagsabi na nga sa akin, Miss Ilsa, magsulat ka na ng cookbook. Oh, sabi ko, cookbook, kaya ko ba yan, Lord? Parang challenge naman yan. Pero ang dami ko nang naiimbentong mga dishes at ang dami kong binabasang mga recipes, and then ako ay fan and follower nung page ni Erwin Yusaf, di ba? To learn new recipes and ways of cooking food. Eat a balanced meal. Nako, ang mommy mahilig sa mga, alam niyo ba yung kapal mooks? Yung kapal mooks, yung mukha ng pig, yung baboy. And it's a particular dish of a restaurant here in Quezon City. Tapos, naku, favorite ni mommy yan. So for special occasions, in-order namin yan. Pero we make sure na may pangontra kami. No? And then the next day, okay, tama na muna yung fat ng pig, iba naman kakainin natin, lots of vegetables and lots of fruits. So nakakatuwa when we take note, okay, today, kompleto tayo, meron tayong seafood, meron tayong meat, no? Meron tayong veggies. O kayo ba nakasubok na ng mga veggie burger? O masarap na yung mga veggie burger, lasa rin na parang karne, di ba? So, yung balanse, kung sumusobra tayo dun sa mga masyadong nakakabata, ika nga. Sometimes we call them the chicharon, the crispy pata, nakakabata. Medyo, oops, too much of that is not good. Take your supplements. So ako, every day, I make sure I never run out of my green tea. I'm not promoting a particular green tea product, but I make sure that the green tea that I have is pure, and it's even matcha, no? Because they say that green tea is a very good antioxidant. And along with my green tea for the day. I have other supplements, natural ones that I also take in. Plus, I wear my phototherapy patches. That's my side business. And all these are very, very helpful in making me feel and experience health, rest, and get good sleep. Yesterday I was going through a course of the science of well-being because I make sure that I also take online certificate courses so that I can be up to date with the latest in terms of well-being. And the speaker, the professor, was reiterating the importance of getting good sleep because we replenish our bodies when we get good sleep. And if we have trouble sleeping, what are the things that can help us? For example, the breathing exercises, or if you have to take melatonin, which is a natural supplement in order to get back the rhythm of our sleep, if we have to turn off our gadgets way before our sleeping time, perhaps those would help. Okay? And if we lack sleep, we have to remember later on, we will be experiencing the consequences of this. Magiging masungit na tayo, hindi na tayo makapag-concentrate. It would also affect our memory. So we will not be able to work properly and give ourselves in the best way possible if we lack good sleep. So S pa lang yan, no? So remember, self-love is not selfish. Paulit-ulit ko pong sasabihin yan. Self-esteem powerfully influences how we present ourselves to others and deal with them. This attracts the kind of response we get from them. I've experienced that in many of the talks I've given to different parts of the country and even the world, no, at saka yung mga webinars, to different groups. I've even given a talk to the Philippine Air Force, to employees of banks, no. Many of our issues stem from low self-esteem. Sa totoo lang. Very simply put. Of course, mas complicated yan in terms of actual practice, right? But when it comes to core issues, many of our unprocessed emotions come from a place of low self-worth. And when we speak of self-worth, this is an overall evaluation or appraisal of how we value ourselves. If we feel we are important or not. Paminsan kasi meron tayong expression in Filipino, ay nagpapa-importante yan. That has a negative connotation, of course. It's like we want to be the star of the show. And that's not necessarily good. But it is very important. That's why we want to have a balance of the psychological and spiritual in many of our talks, in the way we deal with ourselves. Many of us come from a place of rejection, for example. Some people have had rejection experiences from way back when they were in their mother's womb and they're not even conscious that something like that happened. And some of us have had unprocessed emotions from the time we were children, and we never realized that these have had negative impact on us and we feel we're not really loved. Or even as adults, we feel that perhaps we're not being given proper attention and affirmation, not necessarily recognition. There's a difference between recognition and affirmation. In Filipino, we say yung pagpapahalaga. We actually had a session on that. Excellence through affirmation. Now, let God's unconditional love for you be the basis of your self-worth. Sometimes we expect that we would be valued in a certain way by particular people in our lives. But let's face it, we are imperfect, and many times our love for each other can still be conditional. Madaling sabihin na, oh, we love each other unconditionally, but hey, pag tayo nasaktan na ng isang tao, parang, paano ko mamahalin tong taong ito? So, kanino ba tayo tatakbo? Kanino ba tayo magbabase ng ating pagpapahalaga sa ating sarili? No other than the source of the deepest kind of love, the love which is healing, permanent, unconditional, and merciful. Isaiah 43:4 says, because you are precious in my eyes and honored, I love you. Nothing we do will ever change God's love for us. Sa totoo lang. Whether we are good or we are bad in terms of our behavior because we are intrinsically good sa totoo lang. But whether we do good things or we do bad things, God's love is permanent. It never changes. It's not diminished by our sins and weaknesses. So we do not have to gain God's love for us. He already loves us and He loves us as we are. But of course, for us to have a fullness of the experience of His love for us, we need to be open to His graces and we need to obey His commandments. Sa atin din ang balik nun, no? So, the love of God is the basis of our worth. And there are times when we even disappoint ourselves. We do things we regret. We hurt other people. We hurt ourselves. So, kanino ba tayo huhugot ng pagmamahal na pinapahalagahan tayo kahit may mga ganyan tayong panahon sa buhay natin? Instances and moments when we regret events in our lives and things that we have done or not done, God's love becomes our anchor, becomes our source of fortitude and the ability to go on in life with enthusiasm and joy. So M would be, sabi natin kanina, yung self-awareness yung S, tsaka yung self-care. Now, M would stand for meditation. And we need to remember that prayer is based on a love relationship. Marami kasi tayong mga do's and don'ts when it comes to prayer, and some of us might be too inflexible, and some of us might be confused as to how do we really meditate. Meditation involves creating one's personal sacred space and bubble. So kasama ito dun sa healthy self-love. To even create a space where we can pray and commune with God. And when we say, paulit-ulit natin itong sinasabi sa mga sessions natin, yung importance of prayer. When we say praying, it's not just mouthing words or reading from a book. It is really making ourselves present to the one who loves us the most. So it's presence to presence, God's presence and my presence. And it's not always easy to do this because we have a lot of internal noises plus external noises, very many distractions, right? So are we experiencing the intimacy of our relationship with God? Do we really possess that intimate relationship with Him? And if we do not, what shall we do? Baka marami tayong mga maskara, things we don't even want to open up to God about, or if we feel that He's just too far away, what are we going to do? We can ask Him to increase our faith so that He can remove the blocks to our union with Him. And the blocks might not just be, oh, because I have too much work. No? It might be fear. It might be rejection. It might be anxiety. It might be doubt. It might be confusion. So this is where self-awareness comes in. And if we really are still not self-aware, we can simply ask Him to make us self-aware. And He can use instruments to help us become more self-aware. Instances like, for example, attending or participating in this particular session or in other sessions, webinars, speaking with a friend, reading a book, watching a video. Remember this, I've repeated this several times before. The attitude of gratitude for higher aptitude and altitude. Continuing to say yes every single day. It is a daily practice we must observe. Visualization prayer. Again, prayer does not have to be rigid. Sometimes we can go out of our comfort zone and try to practice a different kind of prayer. Prayer in silence. Prayer through listening to God. Sometimes we do all the talking, but we don't really listen to what He's doing to us, what He's saying to us. Praying through art. Praying through drawing or dancing. I used to do that. I would dance inside our prayer room, not outside, but inside our prayer room, I would offer my gift of dance to the Lord and express to Him how much I love Him, and I would allow Him to just love me, the whole of me, body, mind, and spirit. Visualization prayer. Actually, there are several phone apps that could help us, and one of them, one popular phone app these days, is called Hallow. Hallow. It offers a lot of meditation exercises, visualization prayer exercises. It's very flexible. There are speakers. There is a priest who guides you as well. So you could use a phone app if you are having difficulty on your own to meditate. I'd just like to tell you this Science of Well-Being class I'm taking, and it's being given by Professor Laurie Santos of Yale University. It's the most attended class at Yale. And she was saying that data show that meditation actually increases long-term happiness, and it also helps improve our cognitive functions. So yan ha. Sa ano na yan ha, isang psychologist and professor of Yale nang galing yan. So hindi lang galing yan sa mga religious people. Galing na yan sa mga mental health professionals. Now, positivepsychology.com says that a study by Philippe Reyes on 400 adolescent students in Belgium showed that when they participated in mindful meditation programs, so they were doing this under this particular study, they had a noticeable reduction in depression, negative thinking, and stress for up to 6 months after the training. So, ayan na yung mga scientific data natin, nakakatulong talaga ang meditation. Another is that, sabi ni Renjen Chaudhary in 2017, as a form of mental training, meditation improves core physical and psychological assets, including energy, motivation, and strength. Studies on the neurophysiological concomitants of meditation have proven that commitment to daily practice can bring promising changes for the mind and the body. And it doesn't have to be long, although many authors and experts say that 20 minutes a day really is very helpful. Meditation improves physical health by boosting the immune functions, regulating hormonal discharge, and decreasing cellular inflammation. Meditation, libre yan, imagine. So hindi ka bibili ng gamot, hindi ka bibili ng supplements. Kung meditation lang ang pinag-uusapan, meron ng benefits yan. Now, what more if you add the other helpful supplements and practices for holistic wellness? Kasi sabi natin, di ba, S, M for meditation, I for inspiration. We receive strength. We're not always inspired kasi at the beginning of the day, right? So, again, it is connecting with the divine. It is being and doing with God and not just on my own. Sometimes we rely so much on ourselves and we're so proud of our capabilities and abilities na para bang ginagawa natin na hindi tayo nakaangkla sa Diyos. And there is such a thing as what they call kairos, yung timing. We do our best, but it is under the inspiration of God, under His direction. So kapag all of these elements come together, yan yung kairos, the perfect time. Alam mo ba yung minsan yung parang you're doing your best pero walang nangyayari? Maybe it's not kairos. Maybe we're just doing it on our own. And we're just saying, kaya ko to ng sarili ko lang. But we forget there is a God. There is a big plan. Are we cooperating with that plan? Are we going with that flow? No? Meron nga yung ibang mga events na yun, ang title nila, Flow. So are we flowing with God's plan? Or are we just doing it by ourselves? What sparks joy? Ayan, ganda-ganda kasi ng pangalan ng company, Joy-Nostalg. So tayo personally, What sparks joy from the inside out and from the outside in? When we visualize this particular thing, this particular event, particular task, it brings us joy. No, yung sabi nga kapag we are inspired, you are not even conscious of the time kasi excited ka to speak about this. You are doing it out of sincere intentions, and it brings you satisfaction to engage in this particular activity or to be with this specific person. Hindi mo na kailangan i-obliga yung sarili mo kasi natural na nagbibigay ito ng kaligayahan. Yon, what are your happy pills and happy places? It's an expression, of course, no, yung happy pill. For example, when you are with your best friend, he or she could be your happy pill. Parang kahit buong araw kayo magkasama, okay lang, di kayo nagsasawaan. Happy places. I think I mentioned before, favorite places ko, Assisi in Italy and Disneyland. O, marami akong classmates na gusto rin ang Disneyland. Dinisplay ko nga yung video sa aking Facebook page, yung sa It's a Small World After All. Parang you feel like you're a kid once again, no? Where do I feel most loved? Kulang ka ba ng inspirasyon? Punta ka doon sa lugar na yon. It might not be a physical place. It could be an experience. It could be bonding with somebody. And there you feel you are safe. It is a haven for you to be with the one who loves you. And syempre, haven, unang-una na sana, panalangin kasi it helps us commune with the one who loves us in the deepest way possible. Si God, diba? Who are the people who help motivate me? Yan. Yung barkada ko ng high school, pag feeling nila, ay, nako, nalulungkot kami or nalulungkot ako, can we have an online bonding? And eventually, when everybody's fully vaccinated, siguro baka pwede na tayong magkita, kahit papano, with social distancing pa rin, no? So, yung nakakahinga ka when you are with these people, you can be yourself. And the trust level is very, very high because you've established a particular bond that is unshakable. L would be learning. Listen to learn. And the process is as important as the result and destination. Paminsan kasi tayo, we're so result-oriented, nakakalimutan natin, what is this doing to me? And for example, itong pandemic, paulit-ulit nating tinatanong to, what lessons and life skills are these challenging moments teaching me? Ako, I've reflected, sabi ko, Lord, I'm not, of course, happy that this pandemic happened, but I'm happy about the things that I've been learning. Ang dami-daming pwedeng matutunan, ang dami-daming pwedeng gawin. And even my mom, you know, when she speaks with friends of hers over the telephone, yung iba nalulungkot sila, tapos sinatanong nila, oh Mila, hindi ka naman lumalabas ng bahay. What keeps you busy? At saka, bakit parang bumabata ka? Sabi niya, because I'm so busy with a lot of things here in the house. I have projects inside my own place, and then I am taking care of myself. Every day I have a theme, whenever a motif, whenever I get dressed, no? So what is there to be bored about? Sabi niya. And I'm learning how to use gadgets. So mabuti na lang tinutulungan ako ni Ilsa, sabi niya. So marami tayong pwedeng makontinue matutunan, no? Kaya I continue to take these online courses. Ang dami ko pang di natatapos sa mga online courses. I'm even taking a course on digital marketing. Ang haba ng course. Nasa gitna pa lang ako. Am I growing and evolving from my trials? Is this making me more sensitive to the needs of others, more compassionate, more patient? Ayan. Sensitivity, patience, better relationship quotient ba? No? So, yan ba natututunan natin ngayon? And lastly, E, exclaim. Ayan, say it aloud. Ganon talaga, bakit? Sabi ni Dr. Murali Krishna of the Integris Center for Body, Mind, and Spirit, Oklahoma, The backdoor way to balance your brain and body is through your mind. This comes via your thoughts, attitude, intentions, words, actions, behavior, and how you respond to what life throws at you. There is no perfect life, folks. Huwag na nating hanapin yung perfect life na yan. It's up to us to be proactive or reactive. Now, what does this have to do with exclaiming? We repeat God's affirmation of how He loves us and that this love is unconditional and lasting, so that we can own it, we can claim it, we can experience and embrace it personally, intimately, deeply, and we can share it with others. Yun yung sinasabi natin, we can only give what is ours. How can we even share with conviction that God loves us if we do not experience and live it in our day-to-day context? Ano ang maibabahagi natin sa ibang tao kung wala naman yun sa atin in the first place? Diba? So when we exclaim, for example, this beautiful, powerful verse from Psalm 59:18, my strength, your praise I will sing. You, God, are my fortress, my loving God. Repeat it and internalize it. Experience it. Feel it. Don't let it just be head knowledge. Minsan, ang dami nating alam, but it is our internalization that is lacking, the integration that is lacking. It's very easy to speak in absolutes, but it's challenging to, of course, experience it on the ground. At dyan na pumapasok yung mga complications ng buhay natin, yung mga emotional tampo and hurts and madali mong sabihin yan kasi wala ka sa lugar ko. Diba? It is a personal journey and experience. So every day when we wake up, it's very important to say this, to proclaim this rather. My strength, your praise I will sing. You, God, are my fortress, my loving God. Prayer does not have to be complicated. When we wake up in the morning, we can say our favorite verse and repeat it. Say it with conviction. And that is what I mean by exclaiming it. Exclaim. Sa salitang exclaim, andyan yung claim. But we don't only claim it for ourselves. We share it with others, how God has been generous with us. Remember, well, a speaker, Christine Cashin, said this, what you say comes your way. What you say comes your way. So kung puro reklamo tayo, puro negative ang sinasabi natin, we'll be stuck in a negative rut. But when we proclaim God's goodness, we also claim it and experience it. What you say comes your way. So, as a summary, what is SMILE? Self-awareness, self-care, meditation, inspiration, learning, exclaim. Smile, folks. Healthy self-love is not selfish. It allows us to offer ourselves to God and to others in joy and authentic service. Own your smile, the acronym that I shared with you, and do it from the inside out. And with this, I would like to greet Joy-Nostalg again, the Joy-Nostalg family, a blessed 14th anniversary. Today, you have bragging rights, so to speak. You can make an accounting of how God has blessed you and how you have been used as an instrument to be a blessing to others. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Miss Ilsa. And once again, happy anniversary to us, Joy-Nostalg. Wow, 14 years, no? 14 years of service and compassion. And I really like your talk today, Miss Ilsa. It reminds us that even if we are called to give more of ourselves for others, of course, to be able to give something, we must always have something left in the tank. We must always learn to take care of ourselves as well. And that's why Wellness Wednesday exists. It's to remind us that we also need to look after ourselves so that when we are feeling better, when we have more in the tank, we can run longer distances and give more to other people. So thank you for that, Miss Ilsa. And now, for this morning, we have a couple of panelists who would like to comment or ask questions. The first is again my teammate from the Organization Development Group. Yes, she is the Recruitment Management Officer, Miss Reg Vargas. Good morning, Miss Reg.
Good morning, Miss Ilsa. Good morning, Brother Jello. Happy anniversary, Joy-Nostalg. Thank you, Miss Ilsa, for sharing that very inspiring message. Actually, personally po, very timely and relevant nung talk sa current season ko ngayon. So it reminded me a lot. And siguro I'll be just sharing with you my key takeaways dun sa talk ni Miss Ilsa. First is the value of self-awareness. For the self-awareness, I was actually reminded of it is something it's like being honest with yourself or admitting to yourself that uh that it's like acknowledging that you cannot do everything on your own, that you need people, that you need God most importantly. Kapag nahihirapan ka or kapag feeling mo parang weak ka, ganun. Parang not every time is required ka maging strong. So, minsan okay lang na mapagod, minsan um, okay lang na maging mahina. So, you need God. Kasi parang 'di ba, sabi nga sa Bible, when I am weak, I am strong because you have God as your strength. And second is the value of self-care. So self-care isn't always about the physical. Kasi kami usually mga girls, 'di ba? Parang kapag retreat namin yung sarili namin sa spa or sa massage or parang mga skincare routine, ganyan, parang hashtag self-care na siya. So isn't always about the physical. It sometimes it comes in the form of prayer and of course rest. So actually yung prayer and rest sobrang important nun sa akin kasi yung rest for me is also a form of or an act of faith. It's like, for example, you think you have done your part. Rest is like surrendering everything to God. It's like you have a confidence that God is in control of everything. So yun po. And nakarelate ako dun sa K-drama and BTS. So yun, it's also important to do the things that you love to do. So kasama din po yun sa pagre-rest, no? And of course, feeding ourselves good food, and most importantly, feeding our soul, our mind, and heart godly things, the things that uh, God wants us to think or to do. Kasi parang nandun po yung magkakaroon ka ng peace. Sobrang important ng peace sa holistic well-being ng isang tao. From there, I think if we have peace, parang mas um, parang automatically reflect yung love ng Lord and grace ng Lord through your work, through your words and action. And then from there, you can understand and help or inspire people more. So, yun lang po. And then I also have questions. Question, isa lang. One question, Miss Ilsa. Um, what advice can you give po or what encouragement can you give to breadwinners? Kasi usually, di ba, yung mga breadwinners, they are the ones na parang may tendency to overdo things. So, yun po. What can you advise us?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Regine V,
Yes.
salamat. Salamat sa concert mo. Okay. Yes, dun sa question mo, yung breadwinners, number one is don't be afraid to pamper yourself, no? Or don't feel guilty about pampering yourself. Kailangan mo rin yan, di ba? Experience also the fruits of your own labor. Kasi baka later dumating yung time na parang burnt out ka na. Wala ka nang maibigay kahit dun sa mga taong mahal mo sa buhay, no? So learn to also pamper yourself and enjoy the fruits of your own labor. Pangalawa is learn to ask for help. So, talk to the people you love and ask for their help also. Oh, ano ha, kunyari, if you're, let's say, ikaw daughter ka, tapos sasabihin mo sa brother mo, kasi ikaw yung breadwinner for the family, tapos yung younger brother mo, kinukulit ka, tapos nagtatrabaho ka. Maybe you can talk to your younger brother and say, oh, kunyari lang, no? Oh, Jello, you know that I'm really working so hard for our family kasi ako ang breadwinner bilang the eldest, no? Tulungan mo naman ako. Una-una, paano mo ako tutulungan? Pag-pray mo si ate sa lahat ng mga intentions niya. Pangalawa, please, kapag alam mo nagtatrabaho ako, tas masungit ako, huwag ka na sana masyadong makulit, ha? And sana, may mga times din naman, intindihin mo ako, pagpasensyahan mo ako kung medyo paminsan nagsusumit ako. And I also need to be affirmed. Kaya sana tatanungin mo rin si ate, o ate, kamusta ka na? So I think communication with the people we love and the people who love us so that they can understand. We're not perfect. Napapagod din tayo. So what are the things that we need as well from them? Diba? Kasi ang breadwinners tao rin eh. So ano ba ang pangangailangan ng breadwinners mula sa kanilang mga mahal sa buhay at kahit sa mga katrabaho?
Thank you for that, Miss Ilsa. Thank you po.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Reg, and thank you, Miss Ilsa. No? All right. And our second panelist is Sir Jemer Legaspi. He is the Contracts Management Officer from the Construction Development Unit. So, hi, Sir Jemar. Good morning.
Good morning, Sir Jella. Good morning, Ma'am Elsa, and happy anniversary, JNG. For me, what struck me the most, and I think it summarizes all of this, is yung sinasabi niya na we can only give what is ours, and you cannot give what you do not have. Then yung sinasabi niya na self-care is different from selfishness, although merong thin line between them, na nagka-separate between them. Then I just have a simple questions for all of us. Halos lahat naman tayo wants to be a good husband, to be a good son, to be a good friend, and to be a good employee. We want to be great to all those things na minsan nakakalimutan na natin yung sarili natin. Without realizing then to be able to be great to all those things, we must start on ourselves. We must be good to ourselves first. Then employee is someone you are for your job. Husband is someone you are for your wife. Son is someone you are for your parents. But who you are for yourself, and who you are outside those roads. Yun po.
Thank you, Sir Jemar. No? So, Sir Jemar, the question, what's the question again there, Sir Jemar? Sir Jemar?
Yes, Sir Jello.
You mentioned no, that, of course, we need to be good husbands, good husbands to our wives, sons to our parents,
Yes.
siblings to our brothers to our siblings, and employees to our workplace. No, but more than that, did you end your statement with a question?
Yes, sir. Who you are for yourself.
Sino ba tayo para sa atin? Okay. All right. What do you think, Miss Ilsa?
Yes, maganda yung sinabi ni Jemar. I think it's a question but at the same time a point of reflection ano,
Right.
na pwede natin gawin after the session on our own. But we must not forget to have a relationship with ourselves also. Diba? Kasi parang sinasabi niya doon sa kanyang reflection question ay, okay, meron tayong relationship with other people, no,
Right.
he specified, pero tayo ba, do we have a relationship with
Correct. Correct.
ourselves? And paminsan, kapag hindi na natin inaalagaan yung sarili natin or sinisira pa natin yung sarili natin, ano na yung maibibigay natin sa ibang tao? Wala na tayo, di ba? Out of the equation na tayo. So, we need to respect our relationship with ourselves also.
Right. Okay. So thank you so much, Sir Jemar, for that wonderful insight in your question. No? It's something you ought to think about, all of us. I know that, on top, of course, I've been saying this many, many times, on top of the anxiety we have in the pandemic, on top of our work here in the company, we also have lots of responsibilities at home as sons, daughters, as parents, as siblings, diba? As breadwinners even. So it really would help us if we take time to pause, to rest, and to pray. For me, the importance of resting, it might be controversial, but the importance of resting is just as important as the many requirements we have. The responsibilities you have towards people around you, it's equal to your responsibility towards yourself as well. And here in Joy-Nostalg, we're happy to say that we respect that. There are programs for our wellness. At the same time, we are given enough time to rest as well. So, Miss Ilsa, we thank you for that reminder, for this wonderful talk you gave us today. And we also thank Miss Reg and Sir Jemar for being with us this morning. Truly, I think we learned a lot from one another. And this is in line with our theme of Christ should as well. Christ should cause us to bring Christ to other people, to serve other people through our work here in Joy Nostalg. But how can we serve other people if we do not have anything to give? No? Let's take care of ourselves in order for us to give more and to serve our Lord. So thank you so much, Miss Ilsa. Thank you to our panelists. And once again, happy anniversary, Joy Nostalg. I'll see you in a bit at 11 a.m. The Zoom link will be sent. It's a different Zoom link. The Zoom link will be sent in our Viber community group. Okay? Take care now and have a great day ahead.